Recently, a trend emerged on TikTok where women ask their male friends and partners and family members, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? And they're shocked to discover that men think about the Roman Empire often. But the misleading thing is, it's not just the Roman Empire. The idea, I suppose, is that men are singularly focused on this one aspect of history. But if you were to ask many men about, say, other times in history, like the Bolshevik Revolution, Nazi Germany, the Spanish Civil War, you might get comparable answers to varying degrees. Simply put, Roman Empire, major part of U.S. history and a component of male thinking. Now we have this article from the Huffington Post. I'm a Roman Empire expert. Here's why men are so obsessed with it. And women just don't seem to get it. It is not so much the Roman Empire. It is not because of video games. It is not because of movies, which is what the Huffington Post tries to argue. It is because men think about worldly things, how the world operates, and how it may become a threat to them, their friends, and their families. That's a very basic way of explaining it. We look to history to give us guidance to the future. We remember the past so that we are not doomed to repeat it. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes, as they say. So, when we think about today, the current state of political affairs, we often, especially if you're watching my show in the morning or at night, we often compare what's happening to other historical events. Thus, when I am asked, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? The response is, I don't know, a couple times per week. Why? Because I host a political talk show where we talk about historical references and, okay, that's an easy answer, right? But why are so many people, so many men drawn to a conversation like this? Oh boy, I'd love to talk to you all about it and show you this article and break down for you the views that many people have. There are many different reasons why men think about the Roman Empire. Carl Benjamin has a great response. He says, what I love about the Roman Empire trend is that a lot of women are suddenly realizing that her own husband is intelligent, educated, and thinks about important and far-reaching things she doesn't even consider at all. He had an interesting inner life, and she had no idea. In this video from Wall Street Silver, a woman says, I asked my husband if he ever thinks about the Roman Empire. I was not prepared for his response. This should terrify you. This trend. I am not here to pile on to a silly trend and have a conversation about history and silly ideas men have. I'm actually here to worry you. Because what you need to understand is that this trend has exposed that men are concerned about worldly affairs, how they will get food for their families, how we survive, and women tend not to care. I'm not saying that no woman cares. There are many women who do care. I'm saying the trend is as such. Men tend to care about worldly affairs, history, and what's happening to the world around us. Women tend not to. I have a video that can exemplify this for you. And this is why I believe you're getting so many people saying, repeal the 19th Amendment. This video right here. This is a tweet from Billy Ragland. It's originally an Instagram from Jamal the Creative, and it is brilliant. And I want to play you this video right now. For those that are just listening, I'll need to explain it to you, but let me play. It's only 16 seconds long.
There goes 2 exits to the left. My nearest exit is still in front of me. Well, that guy looks kind of suspicious. Let me make sure he doesn't get too close to her.
Make my way downtown, walking fast, this person home.
Okay, so the video says me not using a single brain cell when I'm with my man. And it is a man and a woman walking through what appears to be a mall. And the man explaining that while they're walking, he is checking for his exits and concerned about a strange looking man. This is the male perspective. And then the woman is singing, she's oblivious, not paying attention. Now, I'm not saying all women are doing this, but this is an exaggeration of this phenomenon related to the Roman Empire. Let's take this from the simple. Yes, let me tell you guys. When I go out, it's not true of all men. When I go out, I am constantly paying attention to the people around me. I am constantly paying attention to where my exits are. I've told this story several times when I worked for Fusion, the ABC News company. I'm sitting they have these diner tables in the office. I thought it was cool, I guess. And then everyone else at their desks. And all of a sudden, lights start flashing and fire alarm going off. I immediately grab my computer, grab my bag, and I get up And I looked to my associate, who is female, and I said, let's go. And she's like, we're leaving. I'm like, the fire alarm's going off. We go outside. No one else came. Wow. It's amazing. I remember I was in another building with Fusion, for Fusion. They had different offices, and the power went out in the building, and the loudspeakers came on, and they say, do not panic, remain at your desks. Everything is fine. And I said, nope. And I got the F out of that building because I'm not stupid. Turns out there was some kind of electrical problem in the basement, water leakage plus electricity, not good. Wow. Sure enough, I said, y'all should leave. But there are different worldviews. Some people are oblivious to what's going on, men and women alike, and they don't know and they don't care. Not every man is thinking about the Roman Empire, but I assume every man is thinking about historical events and their consequences. Which brings me to this from the Huffington Post. I'm a Roman expert. Here's why men are so obsessed with it. And they are wrong. You know what the funny thing is? My audience is mostly male, so most of you already know this. But I really would love to opine on the matter, considering we're seeing, here's another article. It's an article from yesterday talking about the Roman Empire. I'm a Roman Empire expert. This is a woman, Amy Glover, who does not understand the male perspective. The reason why I say this is shocking and should worry you is that many of these women, overwhelmingly voting Democrat, do not care about historical events and the lessons they teach us. I am not saying all women. I'm saying the tendency is for men to look at, say, the Roman Empire and say, wow, how did that happen? And will that happen to us? And for women, they're surprised. It's a joke. It's a meme. It's hilarious. Why are you thinking about history? Holy crap. Are you serious? The president's been indicted on 91 counts. They're arresting people for storming the Capitol. This is crazy. We have debt crisis. We have an economic crisis. Are we going to have food tomorrow? And many women are going, making my way downtown. What? And they're voting. Welcome to Modern Living. Let me play for you the response from this guy. Looks like is that a chicken coop back there? Okay, now I know this guy's awesome. Anyway, let me play this video.
Do you ever think about the Roman Empire?
All the time.
Why? What are you thinking about it?
Well, because we're in those times right now. Everybody's preoccupied with sports, movies, work, you know.
What was it you said about bread?
Well, all right. The common people, Roman Empire said that everybody was equal. Everybody had a chance. But it wasn't. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer. And they worried constantly about people rioting. Because they knew that the common man, the common people, could take over at any time. So they would bring them into the Colosseums. And they would give them free grain. They would give them bread. They would give them wine, whatever they needed.
We call it bread and circuses. Yes, but most of you knew that, didn't you?
To fill their bellies and block their minds from what they were angry about. They would watch plays. They would watch fights with the gladiators, sometimes for months on end. And that's where we're at right now. And I think about it all the time. Because so many people are preoccupied with their favorite football team, their favorite actor, actress, singer, and they just don't even think about what's being taken away from them. As long as their bellies are full and they're happy with what's going on, they just let it continue.
So this is a really great but surface level explanation to why men think about the Roman Empire, right? My simple take is men are interested in worldly affairs and externalities. Women are interested in their social circles and less so with worldly affairs. That is not absolute. There are many men who behave this way and there are many women who don't. Again, I want to be clear because they're going to be like, Tim thinks all women. No, but I think if you look at trends in news media, you can see that overwhelmingly news audiences tend to skew male. Podcast, news, culture, conflict, crisis, male audience. Makeup, social commentary, cultural commentary, pop culture tends to be more female. And it makes sense. Men being object-oriented, women being subject-oriented. Women don't care about history. History is not now. It's nothing to do with my friends, my family, my culture, and the trends we have. Take a look at Instagram, for instance. We see these trends among young girls where if they don't get enough likes, they get seriously depressed. Women are more heavily influenced by social issues than men are. This all plays a role. Think of it this way. Men are the ones that are sitting outside of the campsite. It's a nomadic tribe. It's the year 2000 BC. And the women are cooking. They're making food. They have baskets of berries and fruit and stuff. They're rearing children. And the men are standing guard. The men are thinking about what's happening outside. What just happened with that native tribe? Do you remember 7 years ago, the story you were told about how the people came and killed everybody? One day, they see off in the distance a bunch of men who have shields with a symbol on it. And they say, I remember that story. Those are the insert barbarian horde. And they say, I know what's going to happen next. And the women are less likely to be paying attention to those things because of evolutionary biology as well as traditional gender norms. Here's the article from Huffington Post. Because it's fascinating that this woman who writes this still doesn't get it. And I understand it's going to be difficult for a lot of men to properly articulate, why they are concerned the way they are. And I'm sure I'm not even giving the best answer possible, but I think, it's a little bit more advanced than someone just saying because it was history or something like this, which what some men do. So here's what she writes. If you've so much as heard of TikTok, chances are you'll know about the current Roman Empire trend. It's not a current trend. But I get her point. I'm saying that men think about this stuff all the time, regardless of whether women realized it. It began when history enthusiast Gaius Flavius from Sweden reignited a conversation previously begun on Instagram by influencer Saskia Court. Court originally went viral for asking her male fans how often they think about the Roman Empire. Spoiler alert, it's way more often than I'd expected. Flavius asked the same question on Instagram this August to such viral success that eventually took over TikTok. Women filmed themselves asking their male partners how often they think about the Roman Empire and were amazed to find out that for some, they considered the conquest every single day. Videos like the one below encouraged others, myself very much included, to ask the men in my life how often the ancient empire marched across their minds. Here, let me play this video for you.
Like a week, or just how many times in general do you think about the Roman Empire?
What about the Roman Empire?
Just anything about it.
Probably not a lot. Why?
Not a lot? When was the last time you thought about it?
Maybe a week or two ago?
She starts laughing. Maybe a week or two ago. And she goes, huh, huh. And then she's like, how often do you think? I was like, I don't know, not that much. Maybe like 3 or 4 times a month. And then she's like, that is so often. Whoa. Wow. Is this surprising to people? It is unsurprising to me that there is a trend among women shocked to figure out that men care about worldly affairs and history. They're now realizing, wait, what? So why are men so obsessed? They still don't get it. And I think this is cause for a lot of our political ails. Look, man, I got to be honest with you. When women are so shocked to discover that men care about politics and history, that it becomes a trend where they're laughing in surprise, like, what is happening here? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and women truly don't get men. They really don't. Men don't get women. Don't get me wrong. But this should worry you when you consider the political ramifications for the average perspective of women versus the average perspective of men. It is not to say that women are or more right or men are more right in how they view the world. I think there's an appropriate balance between a matriarch and a patriarch in that a mother and a father lead to the success of the child. If there's no father, we learn that there's probably going to be high crime, drug use, bad behavior. Now, we don't see that same thing if there's no mother. But in my opinion, because we've talked about this on the culture war, without a mother, I think you're likely to encounter emotional issues and social connection issues that can result in a fractured authoritarian system. You need a balance between the emotional and the logical that you get from the two parents' perspectives. So she writes, none of the answers men give in their videos are satisfying to me. It is a lot of big stories and lessons of what to do and what not to do, one woman's partner says. But so does the Real Housewives, and I cannot tell you how unsuccessful my attempts to get my partner involved have been. Oh, man, that is terrifying. The statement made about big stories and lessons of what to do and what not to do is basically saying, do you want to eat food tomorrow? And her response is, but the Real Housewives talks about lessons. Making my way down, there, that's right there. The man walking through the mall worried. There's a predator. What if there's a fire? What if a storm happens? Men think about these things. That's why I told the story about the alarms going off. I was hanging out at the casino last year, and the fire alarms went off. And so me and my girlfriend make our way to the front exit. They say, hey, look, everything's fine. It's a fire alarm. And this is one where I actually stuck around. It was a smoke machine that was falsely triggering the alarm. And we were like, okay. However, I don't blindly just trust that. You could see the smoke machine coming out from the event center. So we went to near the exit, and I said, we'll keep calm. We'll stay right next to the exit, hanging out. But I'm like 99% confident it's literally the smoke machine that we can see. So that I understand. But when I'm walking around a big place like this, I am constantly thinking about these things. She goes on to say another says that how they lived, how they governed, how they built, like engineering, food, the septic systems, has really grabbed their attention. But ancient Chinese people invented loads too. Why not think about that? Simple. We are thinking about what is widely known to us in the context of historical politics and cultural affairs. That is to say, we talk quite a bit about the Bolshevik Revolution. We talk quite a bit about ancient Rome and Israel. That comes up when we talk about stories of Christianity. We talk about Southeast Asia. We talk about feudal Japan. Not nearly as much. Why? Well, because the Roman Empire is much more tied to our history. So, yes, we think about a lot of things. We think about World War II. How about this trend? How often do you think about World War II? I'm willing to bet people think about World War II more often than they think about the Roman Empire. But the trend becomes the Roman Empire because it's so long ago and so confusing to women to think about worldly affairs in this way. And I'm not saying every woman. There's so much to ancient Rome, literature and beautiful poetry, but it actually wasn't what's popping up in the trend. Instead, he finds the common themes are sports, armies, and sex. This is, of course, a very particular slice of complicated era. I think men are thinking of, gladiators who are like sports stars. They're not envisaging themselves as enslaved people. These people really don't get it. Some of the TikToks talking about, Rome was the best, but you must also think about the terrible effects of conquest and colonization. So there's some element of hyper-masculinity or the fixation, or as one TikTok commenter put it, just menning. Oh, man. Ladies, this is why you've got men and women saying repeal the 19th. Because you are quite literally pushing these trends where you say you don't care about what makes the world turn. And that is quite literally how you eat tomorrow. These women are pushing this. And I'm not a proponent of repealing the 19th. Not at all. But this is why people are. Because they're like, too many women do not care about historical ramifications of failed policy. And thus, if you forget your past, you are doomed to repeat it because it rhymes. Another TikToker pointed out the trend heavily leans towards white, straight American men. It often ignores the advances made by non-European ancient civilizations and tends to focus more on the male-centered military and political matters of the time. With that said, it's a fascinating time period with a diverse scholarship. And if you are in Europe, I suppose it makes sense to reflect on one of the biggest military powers if you're thinking about what to begin with, but why would you be? Apparently, this woman then brings on a male informant who says, people like video games and Latin's part of our language. I still wasn't satisfied. You know what? I just like Gladiators. It was a good movie. Menning indeed. Okay, let's play the video.
There goes 2 exits to the left. My nearest exit is still in front of me. Well, that guy looks kind of suspicious. Make sure he doesn't get too close to her.
Make my way downtown, walking fast, this is passing home.
That's a great video, man. Hey, look, ladies, you don't have to be thinking about these things. It is not your obligation. If it is not within you, then by all means don't. Men, well, you have a responsibility, more so than women. Why? Look, man, progressives don't want to accept this, but the guy here is taller than the woman, has more bone density, more muscle mass, more skin collagen, and if he dies, the woman can still have babies. And that is not meant to be an insult to women. Producing life is the most important thing a human being can do, because if you can't make more humans, there will be no humans within a few decades. To be fair, within like 70 years, humans will cease to exist if you can't make more people. So, Men think about protecting women because women make more humans. And without more humans, we are gone. And women rely on men. This is not absolute, but it is typical of history, biological evolution, etc. So to simply break it down for you, why do men think about the Roman Empire? The Roman Empire is one of the most prominent stories, histories, lessons of civilization for people of European descent and people who live in cultures with a strong European connection. If you are in Asia, you probably think about the Chinese Empire. What was it? What was the Jin dynasty? I don't know enough about it. You might be thinking about Shaka Zulu. We've talked about Shaka Zulu periodically. We talk about the conquest in South America. We talk about the Aztec Empire. I think the issue with this is, here's what the trend should be. Instead of just asking people, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Ask them, how often do you think about World War II in any way? And they're probably going to tell you way more often than the Roman Empire. Why? Recent history, political issues. Everyone today is being called a Nazi. That, I think you will find more common. But of course, the issue is the Roman Empire seems to be a novelty. It's so long ago. Who cares? What does that have to do with anything? It has to do with everything. The Roman Empire was massive. It breaks up into two different factions, two different empires. You have all these tremendous stories, the crossing of the Rubicon. Why do we think about the Roman Empire? Because the concept of crossing the Rubicon means the point of no return, and it is a turn of phrase we use in politics all the time. When Harry Reid uses changes the rules and is a filibuster, we called that crossing the Rubicon, referencing at this point, you're going to regret it because what happens? Trump then gets 3 Supreme Court justices in. Why are we thinking about the Roman Empire? Because the phrase crossing the Rubicon. The betrayal of Caesar. Et tu, Brutus? There are so many stories in what happened in Rome. It comes up frequently in our daily perspectives. But I suppose if you're more concerned with makeup tutorials and Taylor Swift, and I'm not saying these things are bad things. This is not meant to be disrespectful. If you're more concerned with makeup tutorials, pop culture, celebrity news, and things like that, you're not thinking about the Roman Empire. But if you are a dude, you're likely to be more politically inclined, paying attention to news and information, and thinking about the consequences of the past. Meaning World War I, World War II, the Roman Empire, the Japanese Empire, which leads to the first use of nuclear weapons, World War II. World War II was not just Europe. Anyway, I love the trend. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.